Kyle Nedner up here from the Indy Star. We're back with our top five for the MIC Network basketball show tonight, and joined by Logan Hunt tonight at the Marriott East here for Around the MIC. And Logan, it was a great basketball season. Seems like it's been a while now since the last game was played, but again, for the second year in a row, two MIC teams were playing for.
In the conference, it could go either way. We knew, 1 through 8, that it was going to be a tough battle. And you talked about, 6 all-stars on a team, and how they've kind of dominated the star talk and a lot of the big recruitment talk that you hear in the state of Indiana, because that's where the stars were. They were in the MIC. The best teams were in the MIC. When you looked at a lot of the polling, you would see, Carmel, Warren, Lawrence Central for the majority of the time, and saw a lot of things shake out. And then Ben Davis and Center Grove end up there in semi-state. Ben Davis, then Carmel and State. I mean, it was exactly what anyone who had covered it knew it would be, where it felt like it was anyone's battle, and every team just kept getting better and better every single week.
Carmel had that senior-dominated team. We kind of knew they had gotten beat by Warren the previous year in the championship game. Brought back the core of that team that was mostly seniors, and they withstood pretty much only Brownsburg beat them during the season in a last-second shot, but they withstood everything along the way, and I thought played really well in the tournament. If they got a lead on you, they were tough to beat. John Michael Malloy, Luke Heddy, Karsten Windland, Andrew Owens. I mean, they could throw you in waves, and then Pete Suter comes out in the championship game, and he leads them in scoring.
Right. It felt like the team that you knew was going to be number one. You knew they were going to stay up there. The style of play you talk about all the time, how they can kind of suck the life out of the ball, but they get good shots. They take smart shots, and their guard play was phenomenal, with Windland really having a great year. He started out coming off the bench. Coach Osborne made the transition, put him into the starting lineup early on when he saw what he brought, and all of a sudden, Carson Windland was a firecracker for him. Luke Heddy, a phenomenal point guard, just ran it well. And when you have someone like John Michael Malloy that sometimes gets overshadowed because of all the talent also around him, that tells you how good that team really was. And like you said, Pete Suter, the freshman, coming out and leading the team in scoring in the championship game, just tells why that team only lost one game the whole year, and how they just withstood every single battle that came their way.
And we'll bring on some of these guys here shortly. But Ben Davis, who we mentioned them, they were able to kind of went through a mid-season slump a couple different times where they lost 3 games in a row, but were able to put it together right around that Carmel loss. Right after that, they put together a really good run, and then in the tournament really turned it on. And Jalen Wyndham had a really good tournament. DeJuan Jones. That duo kind of led them, but as we kind of talked before the show, they had some other guys too step up along the way that helped them to that championship game.
Right, Kai Steinman was absolutely huge for him. He knocked down a couple big shots during the tournament, whether they were at Southport or in semi-state. You saw Ty Nibbs as well get in on the action. He was a great defender for him. Jeff Clayton, sometimes he got overlooked, but he was kind of the Twin Towers there with DeJuan Jones down low. Those guys did a nice job just packing it inside. So like I said, there was always a third option. You just never knew who it was going to be. But Jalen Wyndham, DeJuan Jones, they were phenomenal all year long.
And maybe the Mr. Basketball frontrunner, Trace Jackson Davis. Ben Davis ended up beating them in the semi-state Center Grove meeting, and that was only the second time Center Grove as a program has won a regional. So that shows you how far they have come as a program, and Trace had a phenomenal career there at Center Grove.
Yeah, I mean, Trey, when you can go by one name, you're pretty good. That's what the saying goes, and that's exactly what Trace did down there at Center Grove. He put Center Grove back on the net map there with Coach Hahn, and they had a big senior class as well. They're going to have some reloading to do. Justin DeGraff was a good junior for them. He did a nice job playing complimentary kind of off the ball there with Trace down low. But you had someone like Spencer Piercefield who could shoot lights out from 3, and Ben Nickerson. They had a great year, and like you said, most successful season they had. I know that fan base is really proud of that Trojan Army down there.
Yeah, I don't want to leave out Lawrence Central had a season where you thought maybe they would be the team to make it to the state championship game, had a great year, pushed Warren in the county. I think that's when that kind of opened people's eyes to say, hey, maybe these guys are something special. And then that same week, they beat Warren Central and broke their long winning streak, and then beat them again in the sectional. Ben Davis was the team that ended up knocking them out in the regional, another MIC team. As we saw, MIC teams kind of knocked each other out along the way. But great season for Al Gooden's team. and Jake LaRavia, Nigel Pack, DeAndre Davis, and that group. And they'll bring a couple guys back next year.
Absolutely, and you alluded to it. That every single mixed school lost to another mixed school in the tournament. You know, there was no one from outside the conference that was going to take down a mixed school. That's what it came down to. And when we were talking to some players later on in the season, they said, you know, we're happy. We got to see Lawrence Central in 2018 and not 2019 because they're coming hot. Those Bears were rolling. He said Nigel Pack, Jake LaRavia, you had Davis as well, and obviously Coach Gooden, one of the best there is in the game. You could see even last year how they were coming along. They were going to be a tough team to beat. When they got rolling, they were real tough. Like you said, they felt like they were maybe one of the favorites to get there.
Yeah, and kind of the end of the line for Warren Central as far as this group goes. They had 8 seniors on this team. You know, guys like David Bell, Jesse Bingham, who ended up making the All-Star team, Jacoby Robinson. That group moves along now, and Chris Byers, of course, took the Franklin Central job. So sort of an end of a really amazing 2-year run, even 3 years, going back a little bit farther. But really good group that they had, and they ended up losing to LC. Beat Lawrence North in one of the weirdest games I've ever seen in the sectional. But kind of the end of the line for that group of guys anyway.
Right. It felt like a football game. Looking at the football score in that one, it was a great atmosphere too at Lawrence North. They put on a great show there, and it was kind of like the end of an era, now a changing of the guard for Warren Central. They had 3 years where they found themselves ranked at number 1 at some point in the standings and got a state title out of it. You know how hard it is to win a state title in the state of Indiana, but now it's going to be interesting to see how they do moving forward. This year just wasn't quite their year. They ran into a really tough Lawrence Central team and a team that really found their weakness and shot the lights out against them and took it to them. So that was Lawrence Central was really Warren Central's kryptonite.
Yeah, they were. And I think Lawrence North will be tough. They lose Jared Hankins, but a pretty good group coming back. And then North Central, of course, they were the 8th team in that league this year. Very young, Brian Hahn's first year, but they have some good pieces returning as well next year.
Absolutely. We know that they're going to be pretty good. We know Lawrence North is going to have Tony Perkins coming back, and DJ Hughes, and as always, legendary coach Kiefer is going to be there. And like I said, North Central, you knew this year was a rebuilding year. You see Leland Walker that's going to come back. He's going to be a year older. That's a name to watch out for.
Just a freshman this year.
Exactly. Yeah. They're going to have some young talent coming up through the ranks there.
Well, let's bring these guys on. I think we're ready to unveil our top 5, and let's get right to it now. We bring these guys on. Come on out, guys.
Come on up, guys.
Probably go Nigel next to Logan.
Yeah, I'll go Nigel over here.
And then Jake. And then Dewan, and then Trace.
I like the shots.
Sorry, that's make you hurdle over that. Well, this is our MIC Network Top 5, and we'll start out with Nigel Pack from Lawrence Central.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Jake LaRavia from Lawrence Central. Dewan Jones from Ben Davis.
Absolutely.
And Trace Jackson Davis from Center Grove. John Michael Malloy would be standing right here, but he had a